if you go to any sort of like mountain bike forum, Reddit, whatever, and you ask, hey, what sort of mountain bike lights should I get for night riding? Every single thread recommends these lights, the Outbound Lighting Trail EVO package or EVO Downhill package, something along those lines. Basically, it's a 2-light package. You can buy them separately, but you have a front light called the Trail EVO, then a helmet light called the Hangover, and these two come together in this package. Now, they're not cheap, that's for sure, but you know, downhill mountain biking at night, you want to be safe, right? And I've done some night riding before using just kind of a standard road specific or, you know, road focused mountain bike or bike headlight. And it worked, you know, it was fine. I could see the trail, but it definitely wasn't perfect. And since I'm going to be doing the Hardco 100-mile race soon, and at least the last hour or so, if not 2 hours for me, are going to be in the dark, I want to make sure I can see where I'm going, I feel safe, and that's why I purchased this. Now, I purchased this with my own money. This is a review completely of my own opinion. If it's great, I'll tell you it's great. If they're terrible, I'll tell you they're terrible. If they're overpriced, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you my full, honest thoughts and opinions on the Trail EVO package. So first, let's unbox them, take a look at them, get them on the bike, and then let's go for a quick night ride and see how they do. All right, here we are. We've got the Outbound Lighting Trail EVO package. This is how it came to me in this nice box with the branded Outbound Lighting tape. Let's go ahead and get this guy open. All right, so first thing we have a sticker, which is nice. Put that on my toolbox. And a little thank you for your support card. And then here we have the 2 lights. These, like I said, you can buy these separately. You can buy either just the Trail EVO, which is the front light right here, or just the Hangover, which is the helmet light. Let's get these guys onto the workbench. And here we are. We got Hangover, helmet light, Trail EVO, and yeah, nice boxes. Let's do the Trail EVO first, because that's kind of like the bigger deal, I think. So here it is. It is rather hefty, rather large at the very least. Pretty big, as you can see here. And this has a quick release, so it looks like this is the release here. How do you undo this? Okay, so it just kind of pulls out. Okay, so you slide this in like this, open this up. There you go. Okay, lock that in there, and then this goes down and that locks it in. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, and then to unlock like this, and then it just sort of pulls out. Okay, so figured it out. So if you turn it on, you press once, and it basically tells you, so it's got 2 bars, so it's half full right now. And then when you click, it changes the settings here. So you have high. Okay, so adaptive is all the way to the right. High, medium, low, adaptive, back over. And as you can see here, right, it sort of tells you what the battery means. So 2 bars means keep an eye on it, 50%, 3 bars is 75, and 4 bars is 100. It seems to say you're probably going to get about 2.6 hours on adaptive, 1.7 on high, 4.2 on medium, 8.5 on low, which is pretty good, right? And then you got your strobe and pulse modes as well too, and you have to hold to turn those on. And yeah, so it has some instructions here on how to best install it. And then underneath here, you get the cable clip, which I ordered extra. This sort of keeps the cables out of the way of the light. So that's a little optional extra that I did purchase. Here you have a charging cable. It is USB-C, thankfully, which is great because I hate that a lot of lights still use micro USB. So that's awesome. You have a shim here for different size handlebars, and you get a little hex key for installing the mount. So that is pretty cool. Okay, let's now check out the Hangover helmet light. And it's actually pretty similar size to the front light, at least somewhat similar. These are both pretty large, which, you know, kind of makes sense because they're going to give you a nice and wide beam pattern, which is sort of the point of these. Same thing here, click. This one is, okay, same thing, about 50% charged. And you have your modes here, so adaptive, high, medium, low. So to go to pulse mode, you have to hold it from off for 3 seconds. There you go. Now you have your pulse mode, and then turn it off, and then just a regular click turns it on to the regular mode. Okay, cool. And the mount that it comes with is just held on with a sort of 3M tape here, and you can sort of adjust the angle with this kind of GoPro mount little screw right here. So this goes on to your helmet. Then you can remove it like that, which is pretty cool. And yeah, this is the curve mount, which if you look at the website, tells you which helmets this is good for. It should work for the helmet that I have, so I'm going to install it on that in just a second. But yeah, you get another one of these charging cables, similar to the one for the front light. And yeah, I mean, these look to be, the quality is just really nice. I mean, the kind of rubberized top here feels really good. The power button, like you can't miss it, which is nice. You know, when you're riding, if you're reaching up over your helmet to grab this, you're gonna feel it right away. One easy soft press turned on, which is nice. You know, you can read the lights here really easily, and yeah, it's just a quality product. So let's get some weights on these just to get an idea, because, you know, I am a weight weenie. Obviously, these aren't weight weenie lights by any stretch of the imagination, but might be good information to have for someone considering them. So let's start off with the Hangover helmet light. This is 105 grams, okay? And with the mount and the hardware, it comes out to 132.9. And then the Trail EVO front light is 275 grams. And the mount adds another little bit to bring it to about 317. So definitely heavy lights, but again, the point here is not to save weight, it's to see where you're going, and it seems like these are gonna do the job. So let's get these installed on the bike, and then we'll take a look at how well they do. We'll go out for a night ride and see how they perform. Okay, so starting off with the helmet light, let's go ahead and get it installed on my helmet here. So you wanna install it with this kind of flat side facing forward, because that's what allows the light to sit flat. And I'm just going to install it kind of like right there in the middle. I'm going to first give my helmet a little bit of a clean. Running out, but that should be enough. Just to make sure that it actually adheres to the helmet properly. Need to refill this thing. Okay. And now all we got to do is take off the little backing here. Pretty centered to me, just like that. It's going to drive me crazy if it's not straight, so let's get it as straight as I can. 1.35. There we go. That is pretty much spot on. Let's go ahead and push that down. And now just to show you how it works, this slides on, and then you just screw on like this. And you can sort of adjust the angle, you know, while you're riding a little bit, and then torque it down the rest of the way. And there you go. That's what it looks like. Nice. Okay, so that is the helmet mount. As you can see here, we are good to go. And let's go ahead and do the handlebar mount too. Okay, so now we got to install the handlebar mount here, and I'm already seeing a little bit of a potential issue with my Garmin mount. So I wonder if I may need to readjust that, or potentially, we'll see. So let's see if I can maybe get away with running both. I may have to angle this up, or I may need to actually not run this and run one of the like K-Edge, you know, top cap stem Garmin mounts, because this might be in the way. Okay, so it is a 2.5 millimeter hex for the little locking bolt here, and thankfully they put this at the top. I hate how on some Garmin mounts and stuff like that. Like this one too, it's on the bottom, which makes it really hard to adjust. And here we have the shim, and it has a little bit of like a little thing sticking out, as you might be able to see, and that fits into the actual mount here. And of course I drop the bolt. It does say on the instructions to get it as close to the stem as possible. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. That looks pretty good. Will I be able to make this work? Okay, and then to install, how does this work again? Yeah, like this. And then lock down like that. Hey, that actually works pretty well. Let's take a look here. Okay, so I've got the Garmin mount, which just barely has enough space here. And this guy is pointing, I believe, forward. I will have to test it out on the ride and see if that is true or not, but I do have a tiny little bit of space here. I'm probably gonna go ahead and loosen this Garmin mount up just a tiny bit to make it fit better. Okay, there we go. That's enough clearance underneath there to make me feel comfortable. And yeah, there we go. Now, I believe that's pointing where I need it to be pointing. It seems like you can adjust, yeah, like this. So you can go up and down. So I'm just hoping that I don't have to go further up because the Garmin mount is in the way, but hopefully that's a good angle. If I need to adjust it more on the fly, I'll just have to loosen this up, and I'll leave this maybe actually a little bit loose today, like that, so that I can sort of manually adjust it while I'm riding if need be. It's not like Garmin mounts need to be all that tight. They're not really going to be bouncing around too much. Okay, there we go. Installed. Can I reach the button? That's the other question. Okay, kind of. Yeah, it's a little hard with the Garmin mount, but, you know, I guess what I could always do is loosen this up, you know, turn it on, point it forward, and then lock it. So, not the end of the world. All right. Okay, so last little thing actually, which I forgot to mention, is this guy right here, which is the cable holder, and it's meant to sort of keep the cables, you know, sort of out of the way so that they're not getting in the way of your light beam. It was a little extra. I think it was like 12 bucks or something, but I figured, hey, you know what? If I'm already paying for shipping to get the lights, I might as well try this thing out. It seems like it's maybe 3D printed or something. I don't know. It's nice. It's like a, can't really describe it. It's kind of coarse, but in a nice way. I don't know. And it's got just a little bolt here, and let's hope that it is also a 2.5, because that would be perfect. It is. Okay. And basically this just installs at the bottom here. There's a little recessed hole that this fits into. And then what you can do is you can just sort of tuck your brake cable and derailleur cable and whatever other cables you have. You can just sort of tuck them in here. Yeah, and that seems to stay in there actually. And that keeps them from basically coming up and blocking your light beam. This one here wants to sort of like sneak out of it. So I'm gonna have to double check the instructions if they have a specific way they want you to route this, but it does seem like it works pretty well. At least it's sort of keeping stuff out of the way. As you can see here, all the cables are here, right? They're not in the way. Yeah, this one wants to poke out. My dropper cable does want to poke out if I turn the bars too much. But we will take a look at that, but these two at least are staying nice and tucked away. I'll see if I actually installed this correctly in just a second here, but it seems to be working. So yeah, nice little add-on, and does make a little bit of a cleaner cockpit and prevents you from having to worry about the cables blocking the beam of light there. Pretty quick install. Seems to be a pretty elegant solution, I'd say. And let's go test it out. Let's go ride. All right, just about to start the first descent. I think it's time to turn on the lights, see how they do. So I'm gonna run, whoa, that is bright. Hold on a second, that is pointing too far up. Point that down a little bit, I think. Yeah, like that. Okay. Yeah, that's a good beam. Let's get the front light on. Okay, wow. That is very bright. So this is what Outbound calls the adaptive mode, which essentially just means that it starts off at almost full brightness. I don't think it's actually full brightness, but close to it. And then it slowly dims to give your eyes time to adjust, which is really cool. So it saves some battery, but your eyes, in theory at least, can't really tell the difference between this and full brightness by the time they get used to it, right? So, yeah, and I think they say 2.5-ish hours of runtime on this mode compared to like 1.5 on full. So it kind of doubles your runtime in the higher settings. Man, the tricky thing though is that with this fog, it's kind of like the reason why cars have fog lights, is that with your brights, the light kind of reflects off the fog, so it's actually making it a little bit harder to see. So I'm gonna take it pretty easy on this descent just because visibility is not great. Ironically, I think the lights are almost like too bright given the fog because they're reflecting. But what are you gonna do? I do think as we get further down, the fog should get a little bit thinner. At least I hope so. Definitely gotta go slow because I cannot see the turns that are coming up with all this fog. Definitely don't want to fall at night. Okay, that's a lot better. Less foggy here. Oh man, yeah, you can see everything with these lights. This is incredible. Yeah, these are really good. Man, it's like a complete different thing than just using, you know, a headlight meant for riding on the road. With that, the beam is really just straight down the middle and doesn't really give your peripherals much to sort of catch onto. With this, with these lights, I mean, I can see everything, both, you know, straight ahead of me, which is nice and bright, but I also have a good view of my peripherals, which is obviously pretty important for depth perception and kind of speed perception. And yeah, I mean, I'm being careful, but I'm not riding slow. And I feel completely comfortable doing it because I have such good visibility. As long as the fog's not there. In the fog, like I said, they sort of reflect the fog back at you, which is not ideal. But that's gonna be the problem with any lights, especially bright ones. Nice. There we go. Serpentine trail done. Man, yeah, the visibility on these is just incredible. Look at this. I can see everything. And again, the big difference here compared to just running a single, you know, handlebar light like you would using a, you know, whatever standard bike light. With the helmet light, that's kind of the big game changer because, you know, sometimes your bike is pointing one way, but you want to look a different way, right? If you're coming around a corner, you want to kind of see what's around there. And with a single light, you're only pointing where your bike's pointing, where your handlebars are pointing, right? Which again, sometimes are different things. So with the helmet light, I can sort of aim to the right a little bit here, even though my bike is kind of pointing straight down here. That gives me a better view of what's coming up. So that's really nice. All right, now we're starting our second descent here. This one's even steeper, so be a good test of the lights. I still got them on adaptive mode. Probably had them on for about half an hour, so they should be dimming, right, as the adaptive mode is supposed to work, but definitely don't feel any dimmer than before, which is, I guess, the point. And yeah, I can see great. Everything is crystal clear. Like I said, especially on these like switchbacky turns, it is really nice to have the helmet light because you can sort of turn around the corner with your head while your bike is still making the turn behind you, essentially. Which is, again, the point. A little loose and rocky there, but not too bad. You do have to be sort of mindful of the fact that you are a couple inches taller with the helmet light on, so you have to just sort of think about when you're ducking under stuff if you actually have enough clearance. But for the most part, that's not really an issue, unless you're going under something really low. All right, descent done. Super fun. Great visibility with the lights. Can see everything. And yeah, now I just got this last little tiny climb, which always feels really spooky at night because you're moving pretty slow and it's super dark and canopied. But what are you gonna do, right? So let's just get out of here as fast as we can. All right, so just finished my single track loop with the new Outbound Lighting EVO Downhill package that I've got here. Again, it's the EVO front light and the Hangover helmet light. And man, I mean, yeah, they are pricey, but these are so good. I mean, right now, it's like I'm riding during the day, honestly. That sounds hyperbolic, but I can see everything I could during the day, you know, and I can see pretty far too. I mean, I can see probably a good 100 yards, if not more, ahead of me with the beam. So I've got great visibility. The helmet light, you know, allows me to sort of move my head where I need to as I'm riding, which again is not unique to this helmet light, but this one does it really well. The whole thing is just well thought out. I think that's just the reality of it. I mean, the fit and finish is top notch. The adaptive mode works really well. Brightness is just off the charts. Like I'm in the adaptive mode right now, which is probably somewhere on the medium mode at this point, given that I've had it on continuously for about 40 minutes. And I can see everything. I mean, honestly, let's try switching to, let's see, that's bright, medium, low, adaptive. Yeah, bright, I mean, look how bright that is on full blast. And let's do the helmet on full blast too. Look at that. I mean, that is full on night day, as some might say. So bright. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the kind of ultimate set of lights for mountain biking in the dark, for single track especially, I don't really know if there's a lot of better options. And granted, I haven't tried really much else, especially in the like dedicated mountain bike kind of market, but you know, a lot of the ones that have similar power to these require a power bank, which some people are fine with, but it is really nice to not have anything else dangling off my bike. I don't have any wires running up my back to charge my helmet light. I literally just charge them like anything else. I throw them on and I go ride. If this were to be like an all night sort of ride, you know, if this were to be a sort of all night ride, or like a, you know, kind of one of those multi-day epic rides where you can't charge, at that point you're gonna get a dynamo hub. You know, like this isn't competing with that for that sort of thing. But you know, if you're the kind of person that just wants to do, you know, an MTB single track loop from anywhere between like an hour and maybe 4 hours, you know, let me try the low setting here for a second. Let me see what's the low. I mean, even on low, that's still pretty good. You know, on single track, I wouldn't necessarily want to use this on anything sort of technical or fast, but on fire road, it's fine. You know, as you're getting to the single track, you know, going back to the brightest settings here. Yeah, these are obviously much brighter, but you know, it's unlikely that you're gonna need to run them on full blast for more than the amount that they're specified for. And the adaptive mode works really well, right? And at about 2.5 hours of runtime in adaptive mode, I mean, you know, that's gonna cover, I think, 90% of people's needs for a mountain bike nightlight. And like I said, if you're going longer than that at night, you're probably considering something in a different niche altogether. So anyways, I hope this review was helpful. Thank you guys for watching. Outbound Lighting, check them out. Not sponsored at all. Be cool if I were, but I'm not. But I'm just telling you this is a good product and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So thank you guys for watching. Drop any comments or questions down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.